Today I'm making a beaded bracelet using the bridge, gumdrop, and melon beads from the Hot and Trendy collection, combined with Miyuki seed beads. So let's take a look at the supplies and then we'll get started. To get started, we'll need to have a comfortable length of thread on your needle. So I have about a wingspan length of thread, which is a little over 5.5 feet, or somewhere around 5.5 feet. So that's the first thing to do. Next thing, I'm going to take one of my 11-0s on my needle, and I'm going to use this as a sock bead. So I'm going to pull this all the way down to the end until I have just a comfortable amount to hold on to down at the end, and then I'm going to go back through that bead just one more time. We'll end up using this bead in the project, so that's why I'm using an 11-0 this time instead of an 8-0. So that's what our stop bead looks like. Now the only other beads that we need out at the moment are our special beads. So we're basically going to string on all of our special beads on first, then we're going to come back and embellish with the seed beads after that. So I'm going to start off with a melon bead. So we're going to pick up a melon bead. Then we're going to pick up our bridge beads. Now if you're not familiar with the bridge bead, this is what they look like on this side, and this is what they look like on either the top or the bottom. So you've got your 3 holes. You've got the hole through the center, and then you have the hole on either end over here. So it's a 3-hole bead. So what we want to do is we want to have our little gumdrops sitting in the middle in the middle of your bridge beads like that. So the first one that we're going to pick up the bridge bead going from the outer portion to the inner portion. And I'm kind of glad this happened because I forgot to go back and go through and make sure all your holes are clear of all of your beads. So this one has a little bit of a coating in it. So I don't know, can you see that? Yeah, you can see that there's a little bit of coating that's just kind of stuck there in the bead. If that happens, a lot of times you can just use your needle and just kind of, root around a little bit basically. Just kind of move it around and it usually gets that coating of the bead out of it. So that's one thing you can do. If it's not working or if it's taking too much time, like this might take too much time, so I may have to come back and actually use a bead reamer and then just ever so slightly just go through that hole, and that should help to kind of get that coating out. That's what most of the time the issues are. So what you want to do is you want to go through and you want to make sure that all your holes are good first. So I'm just going to put that one off to the side and I'll clear that one out later. So as I'm picking these up, I'm going to look at these because I haven't checked them yet. So check yours first before you start. So we're going to go through the bridge bead going from the curved side towards the inner side. Then we're going to pick up one of our gumdrops. Then we're going to pick up another bridge bead going from the inside towards the outside. And then that's pretty much all you're going to do for this first section. The next thing that you would add would be another melon bead. So your melon beads are always going to be in between. And then, okay, for some reason my Siri is turning on my phone. I don't know why. Alright, then we're going to pick up a bridge bead going from the outer edge towards the inner, another gumdrop, and then another bridge bead. So we're going to do this all the way down the bracelet until you have the length that you need. You want to start and end with a melon bead. If something happens and you get all the way down to the end of the bracelet and you don't have enough of your gumdrops, then you can always add just extra melon beads, because I believe the kit comes with more melon beads than it does with the gumdrops and with the bridge beads. So if you run out of one of these two, then you can always just add extra melon beads down on the other end. Then when we come back down the bracelet, then we can always, if you have to add more than just one on this end of the bracelet of your melon beads, then when we come back down, we can add those extras down here too. So go ahead and add the length that you need. I will come back in the next clip and tell you how many I used for my size of bracelet. Alright, so before we move on, this is why I should have told you at the very beginning to check all your bead holes first, because when you look at this one, there is no third hole. There's no hole in the center there, so it's not even on the back side, on the bottom side. Sometimes that happens. It's one of those things in the manufacturing process and stuff like that. Sometimes that happens. So that's why you need to go through all your beads, make sure that you have holes in everything before you get started, so you don't get all the way down your bracelet and then realize that you're going to have to take it all the way back out just because you have clogged hole. So definitely do that first. So once I got everything down here, I ended up putting, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 gumdrops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So 8 gumdrops, and then I put a melon bead at the end also. So there's 9 melon beads. When I measured that out, that was right at about 6.5 inches. Well, I got my clasp out. I'm going to use this little magnetic clasp and everything. What I'm planning on doing is using a jump ring, or using an 8/0 and attaching a jump ring to the 8/0 plus this guy. So with that being the case, it's probably going to add, it might be just fine without this extra melon, but I don't know, it's one of those things. I can't decide if I want to have that extra melon or not, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and put it on there and then just go from there. So I'm probably, because I'm thinking about using like a 4mm, maybe a 5mm jump ring. Anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and add that extra melon off to the side. So once we get down on this side, I'm going to add that other melon on this side too. And I kind of said a little fib earlier. I said we're going to use that 11/0 in our project. We're not going to. We're going to actually use 8/0s. So once you get down to the end of your bracelet, go ahead and add an 8/0. And then that's what your beads are going to be attached, what your jump ring is going to attach to your clasp at the end. So now we need to go back down the bracelet. So this part is kind of hard to do tension wise and film at the same time. So we're going to skip over that 8/0 that we just went through. I'm going to go ahead and go back through the melons. I'm going to come out before I get to that bridge bead. So there we go. So we're coming out in between the melon and that first bridge bead. We're going to pick up a 15 and 2 of our 11/0 seed beads. And then I'm just bead to the right. It's just easier for me to do that. So I'm going to go to the right hand hole and then just go straight through that hole. And then that should put those beads as a decoration around the edge. So what we're going to end up doing is going all the way down this side of the bracelet. Then we're going to come back down the center of the bracelet to give it another thread path through it. Plus it'll give another thread path through this 8/0 seed bead that's down here. Then we're going to go down and do the same thing on the other side. So in between the two bridge beads here, we're going to do a 11, 8, and an 11. So those. And then we're going to go straight through that one. And then on the other side of the bridge bead, we need to do something similar to what we did over here. So 2 11s and a 15. And then just go through the melon. And then on the other side over here, do the opposite. Be a 15 and 2 11s. And then go through the right hand side. Now this would be an awesome project if you are comfortable with using 2 needles. If you're comfortable with using 2 needles, this would be something that would be very, very nice to be able to use, because you can go through this side a couple of times and then pick up the other needle and go and do the other side, do the same thing. Because once you come back down the center of the bracelet, you're going to be back over here again. We're just going to be beading on to the left hand side instead. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to add the 2 11s and then the 15 here. So you're going to have a 15 on either side plus 2 11s on either side of your melons. And then in between everything, it'll be the same. It'll be 2 11s and an 8/0 in between the bridge beads. So that's what you need to do, is continue on down the right hand side of the bracelet. When you get down here to the melon down here, we're going to skip that stop bead that's up here. I'm going to add my extra melon, and then I'm going to add an 8/0. Then I'm going to come straight down the center of it all one more time, wrap around this 8/0 that we added down here, then get ourselves back out and start doing the left hand side in the same fashion. So I will get all of that done and I'll meet you back over here and then we'll finish off the bracelet. Alright, so this is how all the beadwork looks on the bracelet so far. So I'll hold it up just a little bit closer so you can see it a little bit better. So there you go. And then all my little gumdrops are facing in one direction. So putting the beads on either side with the bridge beads and stuff help keep the gumdrops from flipping around to the back side. So this is the way it's going to look on my wrist. So this one's actually going to be a little bit bigger than what I'm going to need to wear because it's actually overlapping back over here. So this is going to be a little bit bigger of a bracelet. So if that's the case, then hopefully that will kind of give you an idea of how many of these melon beads to add. I was going back and forth if I wanted to add that second melon bead or not, but of course I most of the time don't make jewelry for myself anymore. I sell my jewelry, so I'm going to have some pieces that are a little bit larger anyway than what I typically wear, which is anywhere between 6.5 and a 7-inch bracelet. So this is going to be probably closer to about a 7.5 inch to potentially an 8-inch bracelet. So somewhere around in there. Once we get the clasp on and everything like that. And some people like to have really loose bracelets like that too. So just depends on the person. Alright, so let's finish up with the beadwork. Get my thread from unwinding here. So we're currently coming out of this last melon bead, so however many melon beads that you have, we need to go through this 8/0 one more time, so that way we get our 2 thread paths through there. I like to have at least 2 thread paths through just about every single bead in bracelets, just because it is a bracelet and it tends to get more wear and tear compared to necklaces and compared to earrings and things like that. So I try to put as many thread paths through each single bead as I can. Now we're going to get back down over here so we can start adding some beads in between these 15-0s that are around our melon beads. So we're going to go back through the melons, and then I'm going to go ahead and go to the right hand side one more time. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the 15, the 2 11s, the bridge bead, the 11, 8, 11, the second bridge bead, and then I'm going to come out through the 11 and the 2 15s here. And basically all we're going to do is just go around this once, add our beads, then we're going to go up through this melon bead, go around this one, add our beads, so on and so forth. So I'm pretty sure that yeah, it looks like it. See what I'm doing here? See how I picked up some beads and I'm holding it, trying to get the beads close, and I'm holding it up to the space that I want to fill in. So I'm checking to make sure that a 15, 8, and a 15 is going to fit in there with, you know, basically enough room to where you're going to cover up a lot of that thread path and that big gap that's sitting there. So if your tension is a little bit different than mine, you may end up having to use an 11 in 2 15s, or, you know, maybe an 11, 8, and 11, something like that. You know, whatever you want to use on that part. But then that's what that looks like. So you can see that it kind of pokes up just a little bit. So then we're going to bead through this left hand side, which I'm flipping it in my hand. So go down the bridge bead, the 11, 8, 11, the other bridge bead, go through the 2 11s and the 15 on this side. Then we're going to add the 15, 8, and 15 again. And then go back through the beads. They're originally on the right hand side. I'm flipping it back over to the normal, just like that. And see how it does kind of cup this up just a little bit? So that's why I'm thinking that this bracelet probably needed that extra melon. So we're going to check all this out at the very end just to see how it's going to end up being when we're completely done. So I'm going to get you set up for the next one, and then we basically do the same thing all the way down the rest of the bracelet. So we're going to go through the side again, so then bridge, the 11, 8, 11 bridge, go through the 2 11s, the 15. Now we're going to skip what we just added and then go through the melon bead. Now sometimes you may have to do this. I'm going to flip it to the back side here, and then we're going to go through the melon bead. It may be just easier to do that, so that way you skip over those beads and you're not going to end up going through the extra beads that we just added. And then that gets you set up over here. Now on the second one, I'm going to end up going to the left this time, but I'm going to add the same thing. So I'm going to go through the 15, the 211s, and then the bridge and all the way up here, and then I'm going to add the beads over here, come back down here, add that one, go back through, and then I'll go through the right hand side and go that way. That's just to kind of help make sure that everything stays about the same way. So go ahead and complete this step all the way back down to the other end, and then meet me back and I will show you how to finish off the bracelet. Alright, and here is our bracelet so far. So this is what it's looking like so far. I really like the colors in this. I love the AB finish and the gumdrops. Just kind of gives that little extra bluish green to it. Those are my 3 favorite colors, blue, green, and purple. So really like this bracelet. Alright, so I am actually coming out of the 11-0 over here because I just added my last combination of the 15, 8, and 15. So now I'm just going to tie off. And then I'll show you how to add the jump ring and the clasp of choice. I'm using a magnetic clasp again. I already did it on that side. I just wanted to make sure that the jump rings were actually going to work before I started filming, and then it's not working. So it's working though, so we should be okay. So I'm coming out of that 11-0. I'm going to go ahead and make a half hitch knot here. If you have enough thread, make surgeon's knots. On my other end, I did not have enough length of thread, so I didn't have enough room to be able to do surgeon's knots. So surgeon's knots is that you make one loop, go through it, and then pull that loop down kind of small, and then go through the loop one more time, and then pull tight and fast. And then that should get a nice little surgeon's loop there in between the 11-0 and the bridge bead. So now I'm going to go through and try to go through the bridge in just the first 11-0, and then I'm going to try to do another surgeon's knot in between the 11 and the 8. That's there. I like to try to do knots around the bigger beads and around the bigger seed beads, so that way the knots are hidden a little bit easier. Sometimes you can actually get the knot inside the bead, and so it's just a little bit more secure that way if you're able to get that done. So surgeon's knot, pull hard and tight, and then we're going to make one more on this side, and then we'll just go up that 11-0. And that one's a little loose. That one's got a little extra sitting there. That's okay though. It'll be fine, it'll be fine. Alright, so I'm going to go up the 3 seed beads on this side, and then that kind of gets that knot sitting right there in that seed bead. Now I'm going to go straight through the bridge bead, the gumdrop, and then I'm going to come out in between the gumdrop and the bridge bead, and then that's where I'm going to burn off. So about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch of thread, and then use your thread burner and burn a ball of thread all the way to the product itself. And then if you're able to, you can kind of get that little ball of thread to sit in between the 2 beads so that way it doesn't bother anybody. Then when you get your other parts burned off, then you have a completed bracelet. Now notice how it's kind of flopping around and everything. That's perfectly fine. It's going to do that until it sits on your wrist. Once you get it on your wrist, once you get it facing the correct directions, come on, little guy, you were working for me earlier. Just perfectly fine. Alright, there we go. Just like that. There we go. It's like I play with it and then it like messes up, but it's fine. So when it sits on your wrist, it'll sit up like that. So now let's get that jump ring here on this side. And where did it go? It's probably attached to this. It is, huh? There we go. All right. So my jump rings are already open. I use stainless steel jump rings. They just happen to be already open when you first get them, so it makes it easy. And this clasp that I'm using is also nickel free. So those that have nickel allergies should be able to wear this bracelet without any issue. Well, okay. The flopping of the gumdrops is happening a little bit more than I was anticipating. But I still like the bracelet. I still like the outcome. Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't even know. Ah, there it is. Over here. So now we're just going to have problems with this jump ring. Yay for me today. Okay, hold on to the jump ring. And then what I'm trying to do is move this over here so you can get that part of the clasp on. Oh my. Alright. 5th time's a charm. Let's see. See if we can get this to work. Come on. You can do it. Nope, 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 nope. We're not dropping it again. Nope. Come on. Oh my, what is going on? It's because I have the camera going. It's gotta be the reason why this is not cooperating with me. Alright, let me see if I can hold on to this side then. There we go. Alright, fine. We'll hold on to this side first. And we'll take our other pliers before I drop it again. And try to get this thing closed up. Alright, this plier is in the way. Yay! Okay. I think I got it closed. Oh my. The struggles. The struggles. The struggles. Alright, so now we got that our clasp is on. And yeah, it's flopping a little bit more than I was anticipating in the beginning, but that is okay. All you have to do is just straighten your bracelet out like that. And get it the way you want. Put it on, and there you go. And there is our Gumdrop Bridge bracelet. And that's how the Gumdrop Bridge bracelet comes together using the Hot and Trendy beads from Beads of the Month. Don't forget to use my discount code DINA10 to get 10% off your first month's box. If you enjoyed this tutorial, like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming up next.